This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. And folks, here we are on April the 21st, 2023, and we have a five-time guest on the show here. She's battled everything. She's battled killer chickens, she's battled zombies, she's dealt with James
Absolutely.
Balsamo on various occasions, which is probably worse than dealing with those other things. Not that we want to harp on James, we just know. And sitting on your lap is probably the Sean Doucette equivalent of unicorn.
This
Folks,
is toy. This is my new toy I just got recently.
I give you Genoveva Rossi. How you do, Genoveva?
Good. Life is good. Going in different directions with my acting career. Thanks for having me on. So I have some exciting news. Different kinds of things I've been doing lately. Kind of stepping out of my normal wheelhouse.
What is
Wearing
that thing
different.
you have?
What?
What is that thing you got? That
Oh,
Sean
this is like a
Doucette.
little stuffed monster.
Yeah.
I got him online. You put all your problems into his mouth and he eats them.
Oh, gee, well, you know what? I got some issues right now going on with work. So, hey, is there enough room in there? Shit.
I think he's called a worry monster. He eats all your worries. It's worth a shot. You should get one. He's on Amazon.
Oh, shit.
It'll either work or it won't work. It's worth a shot, right? But
I need some shots.
Oh yeah. It's like what kind of shot?
Are you expressing with your espresso this morning or this afternoon?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. So let's talk a little bit about some of the acting stuff I've been doing lately. Yeah. When is this going to air, Greg?
I don't know, but I will definitely give you a copy of it. You can post it whenever it's ready. I'll give you the link.
Okay.
It'll be unlisted for a while, but that doesn't mean that you can't post it. So that's how I roll with that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
nonetheless,
I just got recently.
huh?
Oh, I was about to say something, but okay.
we
So
collided in words here. Well,
yeah.
well, how has it been since directing Attack of the Killer Chickens? Because I know the last time we spoke, you were premiering that, and how has that gone for you?
Pretty good. So Attack of the Killer Chickens is now. I wrote it, I directed it,
Mhm.
and I starred in it. We have an amazing cast, including David Naughton from American Werewolf in London, and
J-
Brendan Fletcher, who was just in Violent Night, the Christmas movie that came out, which was really huge, and it was kind of
Nice.
like a fun, weird movie. I enjoyed it. So let's see. So that's exciting. So it's available right now on Amazon, Amazon Prime, Vimeo, and Troma Now. So, and probably coming to more platforms like maybe, Tubi or some other platforms down the road. So that's Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. It's a feature film. It's kind of like a spoof. It's a B-rated, low-budget B-rated horror film making fun of low-budget B-rated horror films.
The only way to go.
Yeah, it's like my Valentine to like the whole genre. I'm paying homage to all my favorite movies that I kind of grew up with. So that's what Attack of the Killer Chickens is about. And I explained that because some of the people writing reviews were like, "What is this film, a joke?" I'm like, "Of course it's a joke. It's called Attack of the Killer Chickens. How is that not a joke?" But I think some people just don't have a sense of humor and they don't understand. So I'm explaining that it's a spoof. It's meant to be a joke. It's just meant to be like a fun movie to watch. It's more of a comedy than even a horror movie, honestly, because it doesn't get too violent. It's really more like absurd and silly. And it played last year at the Nyack Film Festival, and one guy in the audience really thought it paid a lot of homage to John Waters
Hmm.
and his movies of the 1970s. And I think that was somewhat intentional and maybe a little subconscious because I am a big fan of like Mondo Trasho and Female Trumbull and Pink Flamingo. So I think that kind of found its way in there a little bit too. So
My
a lot of
favorite John
influences,
Waters
a lot of
film.
influences.
My favorite John Waters film is
Yeah.
Polyester.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of really great ones. Serial Mom, Cry Baby. He's had a lot of Hairspray. He's had a lot of great movies, and I love his sense of humor. So I think we incorporated some of those elements into the movie as well. So that's pretty exciting. And then I have some other things. I've been going in a little bit of a different direction the last couple of years, but you know, you got to change things up a little bit in life. So soon I'm going to be in 2 episodes of something called Boogie the Bunny. Boogie, Bugee, and a director I worked with in the past, Christian Grillo of Potent Media. We had done a movie years ago together called Apocalypse Kiss. It was me and Tom Atkins and DC Douglas and all these wonderful people doing like this sci-fi thriller that's available on Tubi right now. I play like kind of like a pregnant hippie kind of character. It's hard to recognize me because I'm 9 months pregnant in it. It's a really cool movie. But now Christian wants to go in the direction of doing children's content. So we're doing Boogie the Bunny, and it's a children's show on YouTube. And I am in 2 episodes. In 1 episode, I have my own cooking show. So that's kind of fun. So I get to be like kind of like a Julia Child kind of like character, or like a Martha Stewart maybe. And then in the other episode, I work for the IRS, and Boogie has fallen behind on his taxes. You know, who knew bunnies had to pay taxes? But evidently in this universe, you know, you even have to pay taxes when you're a rabbit. So that's going to be an ongoing series, and I'm in 2 episodes. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's maybe modeled after like Sesame Street or like the Muppets, humans interacting with puppets. Like, yes, that's pretty cool. So that's a little different because I haven't done a lot of children's content, honestly. But I have worked with puppets because we had a lot of puppets in Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. We had all these puppet chickens taking over the world. So I love puppets. And so that was pretty fun. And then what else have I worked on? I'm going to be shooting soon a romantic comedy that's also sci-fi romantic comedy called Silent Romance. And we're going to be shooting that in Brooklyn. So that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. And then I'm super excited about something different for me that I finally got to do a few months ago. I play a bartender on a TV series called Gravesend, which is about a section of Brooklyn called Gravesend. And it takes place in the 1980s, and it's the Brooklyn mafia, Italian mafia. So here I am, Italian, finally in an Italian mafia series. I knew it would happen someday. Someday it would happen. And believe it or not, this is a weird winky dinky, but one of my mom's favorite actresses is Fran Drescher. And during the lockdown, I watched every episode of The Nanny to kind of take my mind off of things. And as luck would have it, I have scenes with Fran Drescher in Gravesend. Is that weird?
I think that's fantastic.
Also yeah, it's weird. Destiny. So William DeMayo is the writer, director, and star of Gravesend. And he's known for, he was in Sopranos. He was also in a great movie called Once Upon a Time in Brooklyn. What else? He's also in one of his first movie was A Bronx Tale. So speaking of that, Chaz Palminteri is also in Gravesend. So is William Forsythe, who I've been a guest with a few times at horror conventions because he's in a couple he's in a Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, love Devil's
Chuck
Rejects.
Zito. Oh yeah, exactly. Chuck Zito, who I was in Black Wake with, pops up in Gravesend. It's funny how we all like overlap, you know, and we're in all these different things. So it's pretty fun. So I'm pretty excited to be in Gravesend. It's a big honor to finally be in a mob series, and I play a bartender character. And it's pretty exciting. Season 1 is now available on Amazon Prime and Tubi. And season 2, which I am in a couple episodes of, will be coming out probably in the next month or so, maybe even the next couple of weeks. It's hard to say, but probably very, very soon. And then they'll be filming season 3. So it's pretty exciting to be involved in like a TV show of that sort, you know. Like I said, it's something very, very different than I've normally done. So I'm pretty excited about it because I haven't done that much TV, and I've never been involved in a mob series before. I almost did a couple mob things, believe it or not, before now. But with the pandemic, I was supposed to be in one mob series, but somebody got COVID right before we were supposed to shoot, and they weren't able to reschedule it because that actor lives in Florida, and I don't know what happened with that project. And there was something else years ago I was supposed to do, but I think the movie kind of fell through, you know, whole kind of crazy thing. So finally, you know, this worked out because, you know, Genoveva Rossi, I am Italian American. Not everybody thinks I look Italian American, but I do. When I went on my vacation to Rome a couple years ago, I fitted very well in Rome because I have a very Northern Italian, more Roman kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times when we see TV shows like Sopranos, a lot of the characters have a more Sicilian look. And even though Italy is a rather small country, people are very diverse in their looks and their coloring, you know. But you could look a lot of different ways, I guess, is my point, and you can still be Italian. And that's probably true of like really almost every nationality. You know, like I have Brazilian friends, and Brazilian people look so many different ways. In fact, everybody always thinks I'm Brazilian. That's the #1 nationality I'm mistaken for, is Brazilian.
There you go.
That's okay. That's
So
okay, though. I would love to go to Brazil, and I love Brazilian food.
You mentioned David Naughton earlier. I've never had him on the show, but I did get to meet him at Frightmare in the Falls last year. You know, got him to sign American Werewolf in London. I'd love to get him on here. You know, I've been struggling to get somebody from that werewolf movie on here, but I did get to meet
That's
him.
one of the best werewolf movies ever made. That
Yep.
Howling, I think, are like just the most iconic.
Yep.
I love it when he kills the people, then they come back and kind of
Mhm.
like torture him with guilt. And then also a wonderful thing about it is I think I asked David about this a couple years ago because a couple of my friends, it's like one of like the great myths or legends of American Werewolf in London, is I think they originally wanted David Naughton to do full frontal nudity, but I think his character is Jewish and he wasn't circumcised, so they didn't think it was going to match the character, so he got out of doing that. Which is pretty hilarious. Like that might have, I don't know if that would have been a good idea. It might have changed the whole mood of the movie because it's not really that risque of a movie. And full frontal is a pretty risque thing. It works for some movies like Wild Things. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Wild Things from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Nev
Campbell and Denise Richardson. Yeah, you're right. I saw it.
Exactly. And I'm friends with the director of Wild Things Online. And I was saying to him, I do really think full frontal nudity works in that movie because it really like, makes the ending scene even more shocking. You know?
I should get him on the show because I saw Wild Things in the theater.
Man.
Yeah, because I saw that in the theater when that came out.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's a great movie. I love Denise Richardson. She's great. She's been doing a lot of indie films in the last few years. I hope to work with her at some point. And Kevin Bacon did a really nice indie film a few years ago called Cop Car that played at Fantasia Film Festival that I remember I had seen. You know, it's interesting. So it's probably just a matter of time before I get to work with everybody. I feel like life is like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, that like everybody in the entertainment industry is kind of connected to somebody else through somebody. That's why you got to throw out that positive energy because it's just a matter of time before you work with people, you know, like here I was years ago watching Sopranos, not realizing that I would work with a lot of the actors from Sopranos and Goodfellas and A Bronx Tale and all these other, wonderful films and stuff like that. Like William DeMayo was in A Bronx Tale, which is like an amazing film. That was his first film. He was in Sopranos. He was, in all these other mob series and stuff, and he's kind of well known for that. You know, did you ever see A Bronx Tale?
I actually haven't, and I know which film you're talking about.
Yeah, that's like an iconic film, like there's certain lines, like make sure the girl reaches around to pull up the button before she comes in the car. It's like a test. And now you guys can't leave. There's like certain like moments, Robert De Niro's in it, Chaz Palminteri, William DeMayo, a whole bunch of like really, cool people. It's like one of those iconic Italian American kinds of movies that like really kind of like lives in everybody's memory, A Bronx Tale. And that was William DeMayo's first movie. And when I guess he must have been a kid, and because he's not particularly old now. So, it's amazing, like your journey as an actor, that I would never have thought, having seen that. And he was also, I think, in Analyze This, which I saw years ago. I
saw that in the theater. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I remember watching that actually at home with one of my ex-boyfriends a few years ago, So it's just kind of funny how everybody in the entertainment industry is connected with each other. Like David Naughton and I have been in a couple movies together, including Attack of the Killer Chickens. And he has a great resume too, David Naughton. He's been in like My Sister Sam. He has that amazing disco song, Making
Hot
It.
Dog the movie.
What is it?
Hot Dog the movie.
Oh my goodness, I never saw that. It's his Dr. Pepper commercials I was watching on YouTube. He has such a, he was in an episode or two of American Horror Story. Just like amazing stuff. He's like such an amazing actor. It was really an honor to have David Naughton on set for American Werewolf from London. American Werewolf from London, of course, and also Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. To have somebody from such an iconic movie in Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie, we have him as the president, President Robertson, which he's not modeled after any president. We're not trying to be like anybody that's ever been president. It's like its own universe, and he's like President Robertson. So I don't know. I can imagine David Naughton being like the kind of person that would run for president or being like a politician. He kind of has that, air to him of being like a very formal, kind of diplomatic kind of guy, in my opinion. I could see him playing like a role like that, being like the president, being like a senator, being like a congressman,
Mm-hmm.
It's just probably a matter of time before he ends up in a role like that, in my opinion. So we had him as the president in my film, and it was great working with him and everything. And I've been a guest with him, David Naughton, in a couple conventions. So I've gotten to hang out with him stuff. He's a super duper nice guy. He just ended up in American Werewolf in London. He hasn't done that many horror films. He's done a lot of stuff outside of that genre, Same thing with William Forsythe,
Oh, I loved him as Sheriff Wydell in Devil's Rejects. He made that
that's
film.
A classic film.
Yeah.
That's a cult film, really,
Who all of
Right?
you
People
worked
love
with at
it.
conventions?
What?
Who all of you worked with at conventions?
Who have we worked with at conventions?
Mm-hmm.
do
Like
mean
you
who
said,
we
you've
worked
done
with?
conventions with David Naughton and William Forsythe. I'm assuming you were sitting very close to them and had a good back and forth with them. Who have you been at the conventions with that you spent any time with?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's see. Over the years, I've been on a lot of conventions with Kane Hodder, including
Mhm.
my first convention was in 2014. I had just started acting in 2012. My first convention was in Mr. Hush Weekend of Fear. And I remember I got there and I was setting up my table, and Kane Hodder came over and he's like, Genoveva Rossi, you're here too. And I said to myself, I'm like, how does he even know who I am and how to pronounce my name? Because we've never met before. But Kane Hodder is really just that outgoing and friendly of a dude. So I remember he had given me some advice. I was sitting near him. I was sitting also very close to Tom Savini, and a whole bunch of other people. So that was exciting.
Did Tom Savini shoot any rubber bands at you?
No, he didn't. But I do remember being in the break room with him and eating and enjoying our break food in the green room with him. Because as Italians, food is always important. That's a big focus. Yeah, I remember we were complimenting on the catering. And then let's see. I've also done some, conventions with some pretty random people. Obviously, William Forsythe, Robert Mukes, and I have been at a bunch of conventions together, from House of a Thousand Corpses. Oh my goodness, I just did Chiller a couple months ago, and we had a room where it was like all us female horror actresses were all in one room together, a whole bunch of us, including like Debbie D and a whole bunch of other horror actresses. They were like, I don't know. And then the next room, I think they even had Erin Brown was there, who used to be Misty Monday and stuff. So we were all there hanging out. So that was kind of fun. There were a lot of guests at that Chiller Theater Horror Convention, including a couple of people from Sopranos were there. Chaz Palminteri was there. Chuck Zito was there. So I had people I was in Gravesend with. I had people from my horror world. You know, it was like, it's interesting. Christy Brinkley was there, which was pretty crazy because she's like such an iconic supermodel. So that was a pretty cool one. And then I'm trying to think. And then sometimes I've done ones like a Mazicon where they have me with people like Lee Merriweather from the old Batman series that played Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
She was there. She was Catwoman in the Catwoman movie. And then we had Felix Silla, God bless his soul. He had been in Cousin It and Addams Family. And he had also been Twiggy in Buck Rogers, was an 80s TV series. He played the little robot. And so I remember hanging out with Felix Silla quite a bit. He was a really, really nice guy, and he was a guest at Chiller. I've been a guest with Felix quite a few times. He was like this adorable little person, and he was originally from Rome, Italy, actually. And I've been to Rome, so I remember we had talked about that. He was very Italian. He had a lot of chutzpah. So God bless him. We all miss him. Trying to think. So many different people over the years I've been a guest with, you know, it's an honor. Linnea Quigley, I've been a guest with multiple times as well.
I've met and I've interviewed Linnea. Yep.
And also Camille Keaton and I have been guests a few times, and we're also in Death House together. She's a great lady. Yeah, you know, so many different people over the years. It's like really, and Michael Berryman. Michael Berryman and I have been in quite a few movies together. We've been guests together quite a few times.
I just interviewed him last week.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's a super duper nice guy. Oh, he's so nice. He's such a nice guy. Very personable, very sweet person, very kind-hearted. You know, I love Michael Berryman, and it's an honor to be with him in a few movies. In fact, he was in Apocalypse Kiss as well. That's available on Tubi that I did with Christian Grillo. Apocalypse Kiss. We're in the future. Michael Berryman's in it. Tom Atkins is in it. You know, which are two really iconic actors. Oh, speaking of Tom Atkins, I was just hanging out with Tom Atkins at the last Chiller. I was a guest, and so was Tom Atkins. And it was surreal because on Sunday, I was hanging out at the bar, eating the ziti, rigatoni and vodka sauce, to be actually the most correct. Rigatoni and vodka sauce was what it was. Tom Atkins was eating it, and also Lance from Salem's Lot, which we actually lost him recently as well. I don't know if you he was the little boy in Salem's Lot, and he had been a guest with me as well. And I remember hanging out with him and stuff like that. That's, you know, so I'm honored that I got to meet him before he, you know, passed on.
He was supposed to be at Horrorama last year, and he ended up postponing, and then he passes away. So.
Oh, yeah, it's such an iconic film too, Salem's Lot. He seemed like a very sweet guy, you know. That's an old movie, but it's a really good movie. It's creepy. It's a creepy, really good vampire movie, you know, Salem's Lot. Stephen King. Iconic, you know. So, yeah. So, you know, it's amazing all the people you get to meet from all these different time periods and all these different movies and TV shows and everything like that. And then we all come together, you know, like I'm at Chiller, there's people there from Land of the Lost and all these other, like, you know, like TV shows and movies. You know, you got Chuck Zito from Oz, you got Chaz Palminteri from A Bronx Tale. You know, got like all these people from all these different, you know, walks of life, and we all come together at these conventions to sign autographs and meet the fans. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I'd like to talk about
it's an honor.
Bloody Hooker Massacre, because I've interviewed you, I've interviewed Lynn Laurie, and I've met Lynn Laurie, and I've interviewed Angel Bradford and Rebecca Reinhardt.
You know, I don't know when we're supposed to shoot that, so I don't.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say about it. It's something that was added to my IMDb, and I'm waiting to shoot, and we'll see what happens. I know the director's had some issues that he's had to deal with, maybe with his health and stuff. So we'll probably get rolling with that on at some point.
And you got
But
Brent
it's on my
Stevens and Debbie
IMDb right
Rochon
now.
are both in that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly right. I'm in a few movies with Deborah Shawn. I've been a guest with Deborah Shawn a few times. I've met Brink Stevens a few times. Oh, I'm in a movie with Brink Stevens pretty recently, and also Lynn Larry called "Wishes of the Sands." We filmed that
I'm part of
during the
that.
pandemic. I said, "What?
I'm part of
You
that.
have heard of it?"
No,
Yeah,
I'm
Wishes of the
part of it. My picture's going to be in the movie.
Oh, very good. Yeah, it's a UK, as you know, it's a UK based film,
Tony Martin
and
was on the show.
awesome. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that coming out. So that should be cool.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the only. Oh, and Brink Stevens also popped up with a cameo in Death House. So we're in Death House together as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Mm-hmm. It's a small world. Everybody's like interconnected with each other, always working on films together and stuff. You never know who you're going to work with because the entertainment industry is really small, but it's also really big, if you think about it on an international level.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Witches of the Sand. I got my picture's gonna be in that. Tony Martin's been on here. Deborah Lamb was on here. Donna Lee Heising's been on here. Linnea Quigley's been on here. Lynn Laurie, of course. Aline Dietz been on here. Like
Oh, all these people I love them all. They're all great people. Yeah, awesome.
Michael St. Michael's, Barbara McNaughey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's 8 right there, That's
Oh,
been on
beautiful. Yeah,
my
it's a great cast. It's a great cast.
hmm So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with this, and I see the updates. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a unique and very fun movie. So yeah, I bought the Blu-ray for it and I got my picture in the film. So yeah, I had Tony Martin on here and he was just a great guy to interview and so much enthusiasm and yeah.
Awesome.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
happy for you. Congratulations for getting in there with all these wonderful people.
Well,
Superstar.
uh
You
well, I
never
haven't
know. All you need is a small part in a cult film, and you'll be signing autographs at a convention soon. You know?
but I could use that. Holy cow. What I do all the time, I could probably use it. But
Oh well,
nonetheless,
it's fun. It's a way to make some extra money. It's fun. It's a good way to travel for free and things like that too, right? Adds a little excitement to all of our lives. Every time I go to a convention as a guest, it's like a nice little vacation. For like one of my favorite ones is I did a few years ago. I was at Birmingham Horror Convention, and that was in Birmingham, United Kingdom. So
mhm.
I got to be a guest at that one with Mark Patton, with some people from Poltergeist, from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I met John Dugan.
Had him on
Um,
here.
yeah, he's a great guy. A whole bunch of wonderful people from all these wonderful films, Pulp Fiction, all these other things. And here we were, and we're in England for like the weekend, eating French food and eating British food, eating Italian food, shopping and just having a wonderful time. It's a great way to bond with people, and make friends and meet the fans. I have some wonderful friends from Sweden that I've kept in touch with that I met while I was in England as well. And and they came from Sweden to England for the horror convention, which isn't that far if you live in Europe. But then it's wonderful to meet fans like that and other countries and see how it's amazing to me doing these B-rated horror movies, how popular they are in other countries like Canada. Like I worked in Canada a few years ago on Herschel's Gordon Lewis's
Bloody
Blood
Mania.
Mania in Calgary, Canada, and that was an honor. And sometimes, you do these horror movies and you're more well known in other countries. Like I have a lot of people from Africa that follow me on my Instagram and keep up with what I'm doing. People from Italy, from all over Europe, England, people from South America, people from Asia, India. You don't realize that you do like these movies, and now with all these platforms online, people all over the world have access to your work. and you might have a fan all the way across the the world. Somebody just contacted me, in fact, online that saw Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie, and decided to friend me on Facebook. And he was in England, and he was like, I heard about this movie. I want to see this movie. I'm going to write a review for it, and I wanted to connect with you and give you my feedback on it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That here I am, this movie that we made in the Poconos and in New Jersey, and in Brooklyn is being watched by people all over the world. So
You know what
awesome.
I would recommend you see if you want to see something bizarre? A
Mhm.
film that was shot here in Canada called Dead Dicks.
Dead Dicks. Oh my goodness.
Now, what it's about, the lead character's name is Dick Richard,
Interesting.
What it's about, at the beginning of the film, you see this guy sitting in a chair,
Mhm.
and he puts this plastic bag over his face and suffocates himself to death.
Mhm.
And then there's somebody walking behind him to do something, and then it goes to the credits. And his sister, Richard's sister, works as a bartender. She gets a call because she knows that her brother is dealing with some issues, and she's worried. And she frantically goes to his apartment. When she gets in there, she searches around for him. She finds him hanging in the closet.
Oh my goodness.
And she sits down, she's mourning. And then this guy comes up from behind her, eating a bowl of cereal, and is completely naked and startles her, saying her name. She turns around, it's her brother.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Every time he kills himself, he comes back to life, but he's got all these bodies of himself in there. He needs his sister to film this to figure out why he keeps coming back.
Oh wow. It almost reminds me of Memento. Interesting.
Yep.
It's like the horror version of Memento.
Well, there's one point in the movie he tries to electrocute himself in the tub with a toaster, and then they're like cleaning up one of his bodies, and he has the toaster says to his sister, says, "Is this still good?"
Oh wow.
Just a sec, I'll see if I can find it here, because I did. I'll show you at the cover because I saw it in the record store, and that just grabbed me. And the clerk said that they had sold like 3 of it.
Oh wow. 3.
Well, 3
It's
because they
required.
only had a limited amount in there,
Oh, okay.
but they were selling it like crazy.
Oh my goodness, it's interesting how it's kind of blending into that building behind you.
Yeah, there it is. It's got like the cereal, and you got all the naked bodies falling out. Yeah. So
Interesting.
I think you would find this pretty bizarre and fascinating. It is a strange little movie, but it's a horror comedy, and I won't tell you what's going on. His sister does have to make some discoveries, but
Why like horror comedies? In my spare time, believe it or not, the big horror movies that I watch the most are like silly old horror movies with like Vincent Price. Like I love Diary of a Madman, or I love Dr. Fives,
here's what it
Witchfinder
says on the back of this. It says
Shock.
Richie is a suicidal young man who, every time he kills himself, finds himself very much alive, but with a dead body of him in his apartment. His sister comes to the rescue, but as the bodies pile up, the pair think that a vagina-like opening in Richie's bedroom might hold the answer.
Interesting. Okay.
So, Dead Dicks.
Interesting.
That's why I recommend you check that out.
All right. Interesting. Definitely not for the
Yep.
faint of heart.
Actually, it's pretty. It's a funny movie. It's definitely got horror in
Mhm,
it, but it was a film I
mhm,
hadn't seen. It just caught my attention in the store, and I was like, "What is this?" So I just
mhm, mhm, mhm.
took a shot at it. I was like, "I'm going to check this out." So I'm glad I did. I interviewed the other bartender from the film in it, so that was
Mm,
fun. But
interesting, cool.
you, according to Internet Movie Database, you got like 13 upcoming credits. What can you talk about?
What are the 13 credits? I don't know if off the top of my head. Well, Gravesend is coming up. So
Uh,
Gravesend, the TV series, written,
oh, I know
directed.
one we're part of. We're both in the Z Dead End.
Yeah, so whenever that, gets together, that'll be Z Dead End. Yeah. Hmm.
Yep, I'm a co-producer on that.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what's going on with that. It says in production.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Sometimes it takes a while for everybody to get their ducks in a row, with funding and, casting and everything. I don't know.
have you filmed your stuff in that yet?
Um,
You played
I
Pitchfork
saw some
Molly.
of them a while ago, but I feel like I'm supposed to be filming more as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
And let me see. You got Mr. Blue Skirt, the inspiration.
Oh yeah, Mr. Blue Shirt's an interesting one. I'm
Oh,
in that
shirt.
with Robert in Mr. Blue Shirt, the inspiration. In that with Robert Mukes, Jan Birch. Who else is in that? Oh, Michael Berryman's in that too. Bill Oberst Jr. A bunch of us. I think Eric Roberts may be in that as well, actually too. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm in a movie with Eric Roberts. He's watching me on a television. It Wants Blood. James
I'm in a
Balsamo.
few movies with Eric Roberts. He's a good dude. I just saw him at NJ HorrorCon and popped by to visit him and
I'd like
say
to get him
hey.
on the show, but I can't seem to get those channels open. But
Well, he's a busy guy, and unless you're paying him, I don't know if Eric Roberts is available.
yeah, but
Because every
I'm his co-star now.
well, Eric Roberts is very, very busy. He's shooting a movie almost every week.
Hmm.
I don't think he does too much for free because everybody's always contacting me trying to get Eric Roberts to do an interview, but I'm like, unless you're paying a couple $1,000s, I don't know if he's going to do it. He's at a certain level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? You have to be realistic. People are at different levels, and his time is money. And I don't say that as a criticism to Eric Roberts. I'm just saying that that's the level he is at. He is a very well-known actor. I was talking to him. He was saying he's been in over 500 films. He doesn't even remember the movies he's in sometimes. The names of them, it's like a blur. And that's a blessing. That's wonderful that he is that much in demand. I just saw him in Babylon with he plays Margot Robbie's father. So he's
oh,
doing indies, big
Margot
Hollywood,
Robbie.
everything. What?
Margot Robbie. That was the reason I went and saw the movie.
Yeah, and he plays her father, which is a great role and a very quirky role. So that was like a really fun thing. So it shows you how busy he is. And I don't think he does too many interviews. A lot of people that are of a certain level don't do that many. Like I don't think William DeMayo does too many interviews either. Because you're at a certain level, you're very, very busy, you don't have a lot of free time. And to be honest, one of the reasons why it took me forever to get going with this interview is I haven't been on Zoom in so many months because I haven't really been doing very many interviews either because I've been so busy. Luckily your schedule was pretty flexible, so I was able to carve out some time for you. But a lot of times people contact me and I really just don't have the time. Like if I'm working, why would I do an interview? Like if I'm on set, I'm not gonna do an interview. Like somebody was trying to get me to do an interview recently, but I was on set of a big TV show doing my scenes. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna be done. Like you don't know when you're an actor when you're gonna wrap. You could be on set
I'm
for
pretty
4 hours,
flexible,
set for 15. You
you
could be on
know.
set for 15 hours. You don't know. So I can't make any plans for when I'm shooting something like what I'm doing after. when I'm done shooting a movie, I'm probably gonna be home sleeping. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna take a shower.
I'm pretty flexible. I'm pretty
That's
flexible.
good. And
You
I
know.
appreciate that because, like I said, a lot of us, when we're on set and we're working,
Mhm.
we could be on set for 50. Like, for instance, when I did Army of the Dead with Zack Schneider,
Mhm.
those days, my call time was between 1 and 3 a.m. And those days were 15 to 17 hours. And I don't think everybody realizes how busy actors are. And I'm sure Eric Roberts has a schedule like that. We all do. Brad Pitt even does. And sometimes you have to do overnights. And we don't really have availability. It's not like we're being mean or whatever, but it's a very demanding job.
Sounds like me working at the hospital.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it is like very similar to working in a hospital
Well,
environment
that's
or
what I do. That's what I
officer.
do.
Yeah, it's a very weird schedule, and not everybody understands that. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
you know.
Yep, I work a housekeeper in the hospital,
Mhm.
so I totally get it. And coordinating interviews around that can be tricky, you know. But I'm always like, I always tell people, you know, it's an open invitation whenever it's good for you, you know. And if somebody is not available right away, you know, come back later, you know. I'm pretty open with that, you know.
Well, and then also too, like you never know. Like we could schedule this, and what if somebody calls me and they're like, "We need you on set today." That happens as an actor. Some of the biggest films I've been in and biggest projects I've been in, I had very little notice. Like Death House, for instance, I had less than 24 hours notice that I was wanted on set and I had a part in Death House.
Hmm.
So, and people don't understand that when you're an actor, is that sometimes you have less than a day's notice before you shoot a film. So your schedule is always like up in the air. So I always tell people when I make plans with them, I'm like, I'll be there unless I have a shoot,
Hmm.
you know, because you never know if a shoot's going to come up. And that's my primary focus. Because again, sometimes the most important roles of my career have been the ones I got kind of last minute. And if I had said no to them, where would I be now? You have to, acting has to be like an obsession. It has to be a passion. It has to be like a very big part of your life for you in order for you to be successful. It can't just be something you do when it's convenient.
You got Brooklyn
Unfortunately.
Love Doll Massacre.
Oh, that's a fun one. I shot that. Rocco George is the writer and director and star. He was my puppeteer and one of the stars of Attack of the Killer Chickens, the movie. So I am in Brooklyn Love Doll Massacre. We shot that a while ago. I play like a witch character in that. And I had fun on set with that. David Stein from The Lich and also from Attack of the Killer Chickens and his wife Alicia are also in it. And we had a lot of fun doing that one. That's another one of those wacky movies. Brooklyn Love Doll Massacre. The title says it all.
Well, you
Beautiful.
know, I also noticed too, and I only just discovered this the other day, you got a cameo as well.
And what?
No, Cameo, like you're on Cameo.
Oh, yeah, I am on Cameo. Exactly right. I am on Cameo with a lot of other celebrities. So you can go on Cameo and you can ask for me to do a little like video cameo. A lot of times I end up doing it for people's birthdays. That's a big popular one, or anniversaries, or anything like that. For your birthday, I'll tell you how sexy you are. I'll be like, "Hey, sexy, happy birthday."
I just had Felissa Rose do the Doubtfire Face challenge on there, which was cool because Sandy Johnson threw it out to her, and she saw when Sandy Johnson nominated her, and she's like, "I gotta do this," and I threw it out to her on Cameo so she'd get a little money for it too. So
Oh yeah, well that's always a good one. As an actor, we always
yeah.
hard to find if your busy times, slow times. So
Uh-huh.
you have your autographing, your guest appearances, your cameo, and all these other different things that you might do too.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Oh
gotta pay
yeah.
the bill.
There you
So yeah.
go. Oh yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to promote and plug before we close off?
No, just everybody look for me in Boogie on YouTube. It's a children's series. I'm excited about that. It's a little different for me, out of my wheelhouse. look for me in Gravesend, which is an upcoming season 2 of this exciting Brooklyn mob series. Takes place in the 1980s. It's really awesome. And look for me in Silent Romance, sci-fi romantic comedy that'll be coming up. I'll be shooting that soon. And then a whole bunch of other things. Oh, and I'm also in The Bloody Nun. That'll be coming out soon. I play a police officer in The Bloody Nun. My first time playing a cop. And there's probably so many other movies that I'm forgetting to mention, but those are the ones that are popping into my head right now. I apologize if I didn't mention anything. And thank you everyone for the support. Please follow me on IMDb, International Movie Database. Follow me on Facebook, Genoveva Rossi. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like. Thank you.
Tell me, do you, in Bloody Nun, do you get the nightstick and the taser and the handcuffs out and deal with those bloody nuns?
You gotta watch it and find out. But it's my first time playing a police officer, so I am very, stern. I'm a stern officer. I'm very assertive in this movie.
There you go. Genoveva, it's always nice to have you on here. This is the 5th time I've had you on here, and I love having you come on here and hearing your updates. I know you're always busy, and you always have stuff that you're promoting, and I love touching base with you every year if I can. So I still see you. Yeah, I still see your post on Facebook, and I still follow what you're doing. So
I follow you too.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate it, and yeah, I looking forward to these films coming up, and hopefully we can get you at a con down here. They don't seem to listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd love to do one in Canada. I haven't been to Canada in a little while.
I've done a couple.
Got cute little accents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, eh?
I've done a couple of the horror-ramas with Lisa Langlois from class of 1984, and I'll do Frightmare in the Falls if they book Lisa at it this year. I know there was talks about it, but that will be when I do it. I had fun there last year, but I find at the big cons I spend way too much money, whereas at the smaller cons,
it's hard not to. It's hard to. Yeah,
and at the smaller cons, I find it's easier to restrain that, because I mean, Horrorama.
The smaller cons too. Sometimes they're like nice and cozy, a little more intimate,
I love that. That's why I love Horrorama. I mean, last year they had Caroline Monroe there, who I've interviewed back in 2016, and it was so awesome to meet her. So
she's iconic.
Yep.
She's an original Hammer girl, right? She was a Hammer girl.
I've had her, and I've had Veronica Carlson.
I love the Hammer films.
Yeah,
I love the Hammer.
But she was wonderful to meet, she remembered me when I had interviewed her in 2016 as well. So,
awesome.
Yep. So
awesome.
That was fun. But I find the smaller cons are a lot more intimate. You don't have to. You can have more time with the guest. It's just a lot nicer. The big cons, they're nice, but unless you have a VIP, you gotta stand in a lineup a real long time. And
they could be overwhelming too. There's just so much going on,
Yeah.
It's hard to see everybody sometimes,
So
big, so many
way
guests.
too much. Yeah. I spent a lot of money there last year. Yeah.
It's hard not to, because like I said too, with like Lance, you never know, when you're seeing guests, when's the last time you may never see them again. Like I saw Julian Sands, prayers for Julian Sands at Monster Mania a while ago. Who knew that was gonna be the last time we would see Julian Sands alive or whatever, and he was one of my favorite actors from the 90s. He went missing a couple months ago in California. Prayers for him and his family. I had met him. I had talked to him quite a bit about some of his films and stuff, including Opera and Warlock series, and I always loved him in Gothic. And you just never know. So it's like when you meet them, you want to spend the money getting the autograph, getting the picture, because you never know if you're going to see this person again. You never know, because you don't know if something should happen or if they're just ever going to come out to your area again.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? So I can see why you would end up spending too much money.
Yeah.
I can see
Well,
that.
I was lucky. Frightmare in the Falls a couple of years ago, I met Lisa Loring, and she's gone now. She gave me her number, but she didn't seem to have Zoom and all that stuff set up, so we never did get the interview, but I do get a couple autographs and a couple pictures with her. So there is at least that. So you drinking your espresso? Your espresso?
Yeah.
No.
Baby Yoda mug. Look at how beautiful
Yes.
that is.
Now tell me, what kind of espresso was that?
Well, what I had done with it this time is I mixed it with green tea matcha, Japanese ceremonial matcha. I mixed that together, which is pretty exciting.
There you go.
It's my own recipe.
For those listening to this, every time I interview Genoveva Rossi, she's always espressoing herself with her espresso.
Espresso, yes, espresso. Believe it or not, it's if in Italian, espresso, it's espresso in Italian. In French, the only language where it's espresso, believe it or not, is Portuguese. A Portuguese person just told me that the other day, that's how they pronounce it in Portuguese. Interesting, right? Interesting how different language. I went to Portugal once years ago, and I don't remember that. But I was only there for 8 days.
That reminds me, speaking of espresso, expressing, when is Shakespeare's Shitstorm coming out on Blu-ray?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask Lloyd Kaufman about that. I
can't seem to get him to respond to me.
Oh, yeah, maybe he doesn't know. I don't know. Lloyd just messaged me, I think, like the other day to send me some stuff. But I don't really know. I have a very small, like, cameo kind of role in Shakespeare's Shitstorm. I haven't really kept up on it. I have 115 IMDb credits. And it's very hard sometimes for me to keep track of what happens with all these movies. So I don't know. I just realized recently that I had a few movies like that. Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Mania, Apocalypse Kiss, and some other movie I did roll on Tubi. I didn't even know that, until recently. It's hard to keep track the bigger your body of work is. So I'm not really sure,
There you go.
Okay.
Well, before I let you go, I'd love a plug for my show.
So what do you want me to say?
State your name. Say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
This is Genoveva Rossi, and I'm listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Absolutely, and she's expressing herself with her espresso.
Exactly right.
Until next year.
Okay.
We always love having you here.
God bless and have a great year.
You too. And avoid those killer chickens.
I'll try, but they're everywhere.
Take care. God bless.
Take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.